The Town Manager Review Committee says Tom Lynch is exceeding expectations. Town Council votes to keep Lowell Park green, and Sandy Neck will be getting some much-needed sand. These stories and more on this episode of Barnstable Today. It's Friday, February 27th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mannel. Brendan Clark, the vice chair of the Barnstable Youth Commission, hopes an upcoming youth summit will help reduce substance abuse at Barnstable High School. Clark talked about the summit during last night's town council meeting. He says fighting substance abuse is a top priority for the Youth Commission.
The Youth Commission believes that all students deserve an equal opportunity to achieve success, and also realize that drugs can be inimical to such a success. Drug use is a new epidemic, with countless reports issued in the past by the United States Department of Health and Human Services, which emphasize that the variety of drugs currently used by youth between the ages of 12 and 18. Here, I could not find locally regional reports, but I thought that this gave a very interesting statistic of about 2 million individuals between the ages of 13 and 18, and the different types of drugs that are just being used at the present by these youth. Pretty shocking information. The full report can be found at the link included there, and it's also in a report which all of you have been given. The problem is undoubtedly prevalent here on Cape Cod and in the town of Barnstable, and affects many youth on a daily basis in a negative fashion. As such, the Youth Commission has made the necessary appropriations and organized a 7th grade youth summit aimed at targeting the most at-risk population of the youth before they have an encounter with illicit substances.
Clark says more focus needs to be placed on prevention when it comes to dealing with substance abuse.
We chose to address this growing crisis after some reports had been presented here at the Town Council and some general discussion throughout the community, and we decided to make it our top priority agenda item for the fiscal year of 2015. After we surveyed the resources and amenities that were available to service those affected, we realized that there was really a lack of focus in the prevention of addiction, and that really all of the focus went to treatment and went to treating those affected, but really when you get down to it, preventing it is a much better solution. So we found through research and studies, primary age group that would most benefit would be those who are about to enter a high school climate, a climate where tensions are high and people are just moving into that more adult culture. So we decided to address the 7th grade just as they're about to begin the transition to Barnstable High School.
And the Youth Summit will be held at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center in March. The first session will be held Thursday, March 19th at 6 p.m. for parents and community leaders. The second session for 7th graders will be held Friday, March 20th. The Town Manager Review Committee completed its evaluation of Town Manager Tom Lynch. Chair of the committee, Town Councilor Jen Cullum, says they found Lynch is exceeding expectations.
So we've completed our charge, which was to hand out reviews to all counselors and then compile all that information as the empirical data of it and present it to our town manager, Tom Lynch. We ended up with a score that showed that Town Manager Lynch executes his job at a level that exceeds expectations, which is what we all thought would happen. He's very diligent. And so I wanted to report that the composite sheet of all the scoring, as well as Tom's narrative review of his opinion of his job and kind of his own questionnaire will be on file, is on file now with the town clerk. So it's public information if you're interested in taking a look at it. In the end of it all, we sat with Tom just tonight and kind of sewed it up, and we've encouraged him to reach out to counselors about their individual concerns, and he was more than willing and probably has already started that process. And as usual, we're committed to working together, I think, and resolving any differences or misunderstandings and moving forward in a more cohesive fashion in the future. I think it's been pretty seamless so far, but it's just nice to open the lines of communication and figure out where we are in the map of things. So I want to thank Town Manager Lynch for his cooperation in filling out all the forms. So thank you very much.
Town Council President Jessica Rapp-Grassetti says a new committee will be formed within the next month that will analyze policies and practices moving forward. A vote on a measure that could pave the way for the reopening of the West Barnstable shooting range is once again postponed. The consultant that recently completed a survey of the area was unable to make it to Barnstable to present his findings to the council due to inclement weather. Town Council President Jessica Rapp-Grassetti encouraged the council to push back the vote.
Well, I would say, given the fact that Mr. Petticourt is somewhere stuck in snow down south and can't report on the MT two report that we spent $25,000 on. Given that fact, I don't believe that we should be moving forward with this item.
The council postponed the presentation and vote until May 21st or sooner, depending on the consultant's schedule. An effort to keep Lowell Park green is moving forward. Last night, Town Council approved spending $225,000 in community preservation funds and $300,000 in general fund revenues for the town's share of 3 acres surrounding the ballpark in Katuitt. Chair of the Community Preservation Committee, Lindsay Council, talked about the purchase before the vote.
Background for this acquisition is that the Barnstable Land Trust is seeking $225,000 from Community Preservation Act funds to support their Keep Lowell Park Green project, which is the acquisition of 19 acres of woodland surrounding the park. Lowell Park currently sits on land donated to the town by the Lowell family, and the park now spans 4.78 acres. Expansion of the ball field through the years has led to an encroachment onto these remaining 19 acres. The Community Preservation Committee voted unanimously on August 25th, 2014, and recommends that the Barnstable Town Council support the request of the Barnstable Land Trust of $225,000 of Community Preservation Act funds from the open space set aside for the acquisition of a conservation restriction on 16 acres of land at 0 Putnam Avenue, Katuitt, map 036, parcel 039. Due to its proximity to Katuitt Bay, the fate of this land will impact the Three Bays ecosystem, and if developed, the additional lawns and septic systems would adversely affect water quality of both our drinking water and downgrading the estuary by contributing nitrogen loading and other contaminants to the watershed.
Following that presentation and some discussion amongst councilors, both measures were adopted. More sand will be coming to Sandy Neck to protect the front dune. Town Council approved a $50,000 appropriation to purchase emergency sand for the dune, which suffered losses in this winter's storms at last night's Town Council meeting. Many councilors voiced concerns about finding new and different options moving forward. Sandy Neck Beach Park manager Nina Coleman says she feels federal regulations are beginning to loosen and will allow for more options when dealing with erosion.
These core bags were off the table 5 years ago, and now with all of this new devastation from all of these storms, the regulatory agencies are considering them. I have to say they're even just considering them from Sandy Neck. It's not a gimme of a permit. You know, we still need to provide them a lot of information and prove that it's the right solution. So I think there's this lag time after these disasters where the agencies start thinking, oh, well, you know, maybe we consider this and maybe we consider that. But it's a long period of time as these new technologies are first approved and then proven before they become a mainstream acceptable management practice. And, you know, we wanted to retreat with the parking lot 5 years ago. We were looking at retreat at that time, and so we are that's back on the table as possibly the solution is to pull that lot back, and which is what a lot of other communities are doing. And you know, that might be the way of the world in terms of where we're at with these storms. Yes, it's been brutal, and they keep coming out of the north, and that's, you know, weather is trendy. But I can't look into a crystal ball and know, you know, if we're going to have 5 more years of weather out of the north or if we're going to move on to another topic.
And the state's Secretary of Environment, Matthew Beaton, toured Sandy Neck today to discuss storm damage and future solutions. It's time to renew your mooring permit. Mooring renewals are due February 28th, but because that is a Saturday, the Division of Marine and Environmental Affairs will accept renewal paperwork through the end of business Monday, March 2nd. Late mooring applications will be accepted until Tuesday, March 31st at 4:15 with a late fee of $50. Derek Lawson of MEA says he hopes most residents will get theirs in today. Well, be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 7 a.m. On Monday's show, we will chat with Town Manager Tom Lynch. We'll talk with Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Mary Schakowsky. Plus, we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.